He's back! He's back from the dead. It's a miracle. The Democratic establishment has their weekend at Bernie's primary, and they're propping up the corpse of the certifiably senile candidate as their standard bearer. They have effectively robbed Bernie Sanders of the nomination at this point, at least, and the entire party is headed for a contested convention. We're going to look at what's really going on with the sudden realignment of the party around Joe Biden and why it means nothing less than the implosion of the Democrats going into November. I think you're going to love this one. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here. Wonderful to be with you. As always, a super happy Wednesday to each and every one of you. If this is your first time here at this channel, we post 2 videos a day analyzing current events in light of some super awesome conservative trends so you can live in the present in light of even better things to come. So if you haven't already done so, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. It'd be an absolute privilege to have you as a regular part of this channel as we together each and every day get to celebrate the collapse of left-wing globalism and the unstoppable rise of a new conservative age. Before we get into the whole Super Tuesday fallout and the implosion of the Democratic Party, make sure to download your free gift, which we put together just for you. We are calling it our Fake News Antidote, which is a compilation of about 20 different news sites that I go to each and every day for my informational diet, and you can download it completely free at the link down below in the pinned comment section. I think you're really going to enjoy it and find it quite enriching. And finally, let me ask you, did you miss out on becoming a millionaire, if not a billionaire, from the Bitcoin wave? Gang, if you haven't got on the 5G bandwagon yet, you are simply missing out on another once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. A new economy centered around 5G is sprouting up all across the USA. Early investors may be able to see returns of 5, 10, even 100 times their investments. 5G is going to be huge, and if you watch the free educational video at thefutureis5g.com, you'll find out why. So just click on the link below to learn more on how to get in and profit on the hot trend that's about to change the way we live our lives forever. All right, so let's dive right in here. Yesterday was, of course, Super Tuesday, and just to frame it, right, to put it into context, as of last Sunday evening, just a couple of days back, the Venezuelan socialist Bernie Sanders, our very own bona fide Castro communist, was projected to run away with it. He was going to win California, Texas, Vermont, which of course is his own state. He was going to beat Elizabeth Warren in Massachusetts. He was going to sweep the southern states. He was a shoo-in. And the Democratic Party would officially be the party of Marxist socialism in our nation. And then, to the shock of the members of the Bernie Brigade throughout the entire nation, the establishment struck back. Okay? The empire struck back. Mayor Pete, right? The 12-year-old Mayor Pete, Alfred E. Newman, he dropped out and gave all his support to the walking corpse, Joe Biden. Then Klobuchar, she dropped out and endorsed Biden, all but handing him Minnesota, which is her home state. Then Beto O'Rourke, Robert Francis O'Rourke, left his drug-infested commune and came out of hiding and endorsed Biden. And then all the major mainstream media outlets comprised of left-wing activists disguised as journalists began sounding the alarm that if Bernie gets the nomination, the Democrat Party would lose at least 49 states in a total and complete electoral bloodbath. They'd lose Congress. Trump would have a total mandate to do whatever he wanted in his second term. You got the point. And then Super Tuesday comes, and what happens? The Marxist socialist senator from Vermont comes crashing down as the entire Democrat establishment successfully props up good old Joe Biden to sweep the southern states, including Texas, and take the delegate lead. Folks, Joe Biden is now in the lead to become the presidential candidate, the standard bearer of the Democratic Party. The guy who couldn't even make the top 3 in Iowa and New Hampshire. The guy who literally cannot put 2 coherent sentences together. Who can't even recite the preamble of the Declaration of Independence. Who mistook his wife for his sister at his victory speech. He is now suddenly the standard bearer. So what on earth is going on here? Well, I don't think we have to be geniuses to figure out what precisely is going on. And, you know, frankly, I couldn't say it better than the great one, the one and only Rush Limbaugh. I think he's got it. The Democrats have decided to go ahead and lose the general election with Biden, but win in terms of keeping the establishment in power. If Bernie is the nominee, the Democrats realize that all bets were off. The nominee is the head of the party. The nominee is the CEO of the corporation. And he or she gets to decide who occupies the positions of leadership in the Democrat Party. And Sanders has already made it quite clear that were he to get the nomination, Obama's people and Clinton's people are out. They're gone. He would have a full-blown radical takeover in terms of the leadership of the Democrat Party. Remember, Sanders isn't even a Democrat, okay? He's not a member of the Democrat Party. Were he to get the nomination, he would be taking the Democrat Party over. And the Democrat Party, like the Republican Party, the Democrat Party is a corporation. It's a private corporation with a leadership hierarchy that's already in place. And generally speaking, up until now, the way things work, the leadership hierarchy works in tandem with the most viable candidate within their ranks was the most promising, getting that leadership hierarchy into the White House so they can make the policy decisions for the nation, indeed increasingly for the world, given the dynamics of globalization. It's called corporate globalism. Gang, you have a guy, a full-blown Marxist communist from Vermont, who isn't a part of the organization coming in and trying to take it over. And to make matters even worse, to add insult to injury, most everyone predicts that he's going to implode the party. He'll lead it to absolute electoral ruin. And so this is why Rolling Stone had the headline the other day, Operation Bernie Block is in full effect. The establishment, the Democratic establishment, the leadership hierarchy has decided that they would rather lose the general election with Biden, but still hold on to the establishment, right? Then lose both, okay? So that's what explains the sudden love affair with Weekend at Bernie's Joe Biden. He was the object of political mockery and scorn just a couple of weeks back. Now you have the headlines that he's suddenly the comeback kid. He's risen from the dead. This is the greatest political comeback ever. Yeah, whatever. I mean, it's hilarious, okay? And it's all a deliberate effort to rob Sanders the nomination in order to hold on to and maintain the leadership of the Democrat establishment. They would rather lose the general election and keep the establishment than lose both the establishment and the general election. That's what I think is the operative strategy coming out of Super Tuesday. Now, needless to say in all of this, the Bernie Sanders crowd is going through a collective meltdown as the result of all this, okay? All you have to go is to go on Twitter, check that out. See the hashtags rigged primary or Bernie or bust 2020. The Young Turks are having a collective temper tantrum, right? Their boy Bernie is imploding. And here's the major problem in all of this for the Democrats. Bernie is running as the populist candidate, the leftist populist candidate, who's taking on the establishment, okay? The establishment, in turn, lines up and rallies around Biden to steal the nomination from Bernie when it looked like he was going to get it. Even Trump is trolling Bernie on this, right? And his fanatics. He's tweeting out that the Democratic establishment's come together to crush Bernie Sanders and disenfranchise his supporters once again, right? Hello, 2016. You were robbed then, you're robbed again. Ha, ha, ha. So what do you think Bernie Sanders supporters are going to be doing when it comes to the Democrat convention in Milwaukee? Right? I mean, do you see? You see, this is the tension you have with a populist candidate. The populist candidate runs against the establishment. The establishment rallies together to destroy the populist candidate. What do you think the supporters of the populist candidate are going to do when that happens? Well, I can tell you what they're not going to do. They're not going to turn around and endorse the very establishment candidate that they were opposing up to this point, since opposing that establishment is the very rationale of the populist campaign in the first place. This is what made Bernie so unintelligible and pathetic back in 2016 when he turned around and endorsed Hillary Clinton. Obviously, his base didn't. They certainly didn't come out in droves to vote for her in 2016. So what do you think they're going to do now? Now that they're once bitten, twice shy, as it were. Remember, gang, Just this past weekend, they were salivating, right? They were about to take over the Democrat Party. They were a shoo-in. It was guaranteed. Marxist, full-blown Marxist, socialist, Castro communists were about to take over one of the two major political parties in the United States. But the establishment that they were running against turned out to be just a little bit smarter, right? They outsmarted them. So what do you think the Bernie bros are going to do in response to that? Well, already pundits are saying that this is going to be war. Okay, they're taking this to the convention. There's still over 1,000 more delegates to be had, and it's looking more and more likely to be a brokered convention. Because remember, Biden was considered, politically dead. Now he's back. The scrutiny of Biden will be back as well. So you can expect Biden, who's already a very, very weak candidate, you can expect the scrutiny to weaken him even further. So this is all just to say that the Democrat Party really is imploding on their way to November. Oh, by the way, Mike Bloomberg was in the race too. He got American Samoa. He spent $500 million and all he got was American Samoa. Man, life is good. Now, before you go, you definitely want to check out my new video on Greece, defending the borders of Europe. Turkey has opened the floodgates of migrants, and Greece is on the front lines declaring, "You shall not pass." It's really, really inspiring. I think you're going to love it. So make sure to click on the link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.